Hey, it's Ashley from Yoga for That, and today I'm here to talk to you about yoga teacher burnout. We give a lot of ourselves emotionally and mentally to our students. And we also become sounding boards for our students' emotions. Along with teaching ridiculous amounts of hours to make a living wage, how do we avoid yoga teacher burnout? What is yoga teacher burnout? Yoga teacher burnout is like any other kind of burnout from any other kind of job you've had. Loss of interest, loss of passion, wanting to call in sick, dreading going into work. And it may be that every once in a while you have a day where you're tired, and of course you would do anything to stay at home and watch Netflix all day. But burnout is a prolonged episode of disinterest and not wanting to go to work. So how do we deal with this if it's happened? As my mom always told me, a change is as good as a rest. And that goes a really long way, especially as entrepreneurs. And we don't really have the luxury as yoga teachers to just call in sick when we need an extra hour or two to sleep in. You can't just show up an hour late to work. Your classes are scheduled when they're scheduled, and you need to be there at that time. But some things that you can do if you're beginning to experience burnout and you're beginning to experience a disinterest or dispassion in something you've chosen to do as your career, there's a few simple steps that you can take. The first step would be to talk to someone, and that could be obviously a counselor, it could just be a friend or family member, maybe just another yoga teacher that you want to sit down and chew their ear a little bit in terms of how they've dealt with burnout in the past, and how maybe their experience might help you deal with what you're going through. If you're beginning to feel your classes are stagnant, you're not really offering anything new to your students, it's good to know that often your students don't know if you've been using the same sequence, so that's mostly on you if you're feeling that way. But to not feel that way, add a new pose in, add some new music, add something that changes your normal routine, something that just switches it up a little bit. It doesn't have to be a complete change, just a small tweak to make you feel like you're doing something new and different. Another way to gain some more interest and new passion is to take on a new project, and that doesn't have to be something super crazy, because obviously if you're burnt out, you're not going to have a ton of energy maybe for a new project, but something simple. Maybe you write a blog and you want to start a new series on your blog. Maybe you want to start planning a workshop with a friend or co-teacher that you really enjoy working with, just to change up the daily routine. If you're just teaching all the time, and to make a living teaching, you do have to teach quite a few classes a week, and that can become tedious, just like any job can. So switch it up. We have that luxury. We have these amazing people that we work with in the industry, so connect with them. Come up with a new project, maybe co-write a blog post together, maybe do a podcast together, something that allows you to be creative and explore your passion of yoga in a different light, and that might re-spark your passion for teaching. One last tip to get your passion and spark back for teaching is to take a training. And of course, as yoga teachers, we don't always have a ton of money in the bank for some extravagant expenses such as teacher trainings, but maybe a day workshop, maybe a workshop with one of your favorite teachers. It's a couple hours long, something. You can find trainings for anywhere from like $30 to thousands of dollars. So find something that's in your price range. If you don't have a teacher that you really admire who's leading a workshop anytime soon, reach out to your friends, reach out to your co-teachers and maybe your students to see who in the community they really admire, and take a training with that person and just learn from them and be involved in a new group, in a new community, and meet some new people. That can really begin to spark again that passion and liveliness you have for what you've taken on as your career. So it's also really important to know that you're not alone. I'm sure I've definitely felt burnout. and I'm sure almost every teacher has, especially if you're teaching full-time. And I actually right now I'm kind of teaching part-time, and I'm doing YTT as well as opening my own kind of workshops up for the month of March. So I'm very, very busy. So burnout can come in different ways. So just make sure that you know you're not alone, and you can talk to your friends or family, co-teachers, journal about it if that helps, and just remember that day to day things change, and it's okay to feel unpassioned and not wanting to teach. That's okay. You don't have to feel the need to teach every day, and you don't have to feel that you need to love it every single day. It is our career, and as much as we can love it, there's going to be days where we just want to stay home, or we just want to go out with those friends, and you have to teach. So just remember, you aren't alone. You're not the only person in this circumstance. Reach out to people, talk to them, and go to bed early and start again the next day. So we've talked about how to deal with burnout as it happens, and I'm a big believer in avoiding what we can avoid. And if you can avoid teacher burnout, even the better. It takes a way less time in your day-to-day routine to avoid something, rather than having to kind of meld yourself and pick up the pieces when things have kind of gone awry. So I have 3 steps that you can take to avoid teacher burnout. Step number 2, along the lines of scheduling, is to actually make time for yourself. And again, I've mentioned it before, as yoga teachers, we may or may not have the luxury of having extra income around. So do things that you love that are within your price range. So that might be walking more, that might be getting to the gym with your friend, that might be reading a new book, that might be giving yourself a manicure at home. Know that you have lots of things that you can do for yourself that are free or almost free. But make sure you're doing those things for yourself. And it's not selfish to take care of yourself. It's not. We take care of other people as yoga teacher all the time, and we're always telling our students to be mindful of themselves and take care of themselves. So we should be practicing the same thing. And step number 3 is to have an amazing self-care routine. And this can be something that you do daily. It can be something you have in your back pocket for when you're beginning to feel run down. I definitely have certain things that I do every single day for myself, and they've now just become habit, and I look forward to those things every day. But I also have things that are in my back pocket for times when I'm feeling a little extra extended. Maybe I feel run down, or I feel like I'm getting a cold, something like that. So things that I like to do when I have a really long day is that I really like to have a cup of tea before I go to bed, decaf Earl Grey with some cream. Maybe I'll take a bath. Maybe I love watching Seinfeld before I go to bed. I watch it every single night. I have for many, many years now, and it's just something I put on. And I know how much we talk about not watching TV before you go to bed, but I literally cannot fall asleep unless I have Seinfeld on. So that's what I do every night for myself. I throw Seinfeld on, maybe I journal a little bit, maybe I play a little bit of solitaire on my phone. All the things you're probably not supposed to do before you go to bed, but definitely help me unwind and get me ready for bed. So that's what works for me. So that's what I do. So definitely have the things that make you happy. Don't worry about what people tell you you should and shouldn't do. If you like to have a glass of wine with dinner or before you go to bed, whatever, do your thing, do you. You're the person that has to deal with you and get up the next day and do it all over again. So do the things that make you happy, do the things that really fill your soul and your mind and your body, and then radiate that with your students. In speaking about not overextending ourselves, also it's good to note that as much as we know we have to take on a certain amount of classes to kind of make ends meet, know how that works for you. So I'm someone who I would rather have a few really long days and then sprinkled in days where I don't have where I'm teaching every day, because I have so many ongoing projects that I like to have full days that I can then run errands, work on my projects, run more errands, get to a class, whatever. But my day is a little bit more flexible in terms of when I get those things done. And then I have really long days, like yesterday, I think I left my house at 6:45 and I got home just before 11 p.m. So it was a very, very long day, but today I just had a couple of appointments. I had one class that I taught and then I was done for the day. So it's one of those things, like, know you and know how your schedule works. So if you're someone who likes to maybe teach 2 or 3 classes every single day, maybe in the morning or the evening, and then you have the weekends off, or you have a couple of days off during the week, whatever it is, know how you operate the best and what you can sustain as a person, not as a yoga teacher, but as a person. So that is yoga teacher burnout and how to deal with it, and also how to avoid it, which I think is key. Definitely working to avoid burnout first, and then implementing your how to deal with burnout once it's established itself in your life. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to let me know in the comment section below. And if there's any topic that you want to cover in the future, let us know in the comments. And yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you think your friends or coworkers would find it interesting or helpful, give it a share. And make sure to subscribe so you get notifications when new videos come out. Awesome. Have a great week, guys, and we'll see you next week. Thanks so much.